Welcome to the Live Fully podcast. I'm your host, Victor, and with me is Head of Sales, Sasha. Morning, Sasha.
Good morning.
With us, as always, is our producer, Nicole.
Good morning.
I couldn't even say the words right.
I know. It sounds
Your
like
beauty mesmerized me.
I have that effect on people.
We were just joking just now about why Nicole never gets in front of the camera.
Too beautiful.
Yeah, she said she's too beautiful. So
You guys won't be able to handle it.
One day.
Maybe.
Come
Just
on.
a glimmer in the back.
We should have like one of those, like a reflective thing where people can like kind of catch a glimpse. Like, oh my God.
Well,
Can
when
you
we
spot
used to
Nicole?
have,
Like a mirror.
actually, when
Can
we
you
used
spot Nicole?
when we used to have the big picture behind you before we got this beautiful setup, there was a little reflection, and I'd have to go check the camera, and you could see me in the reflection. Yeah.
Go to
so,
old episodes.
Yeah.
Episode.
Search through every
63.
episode.
Yeah, please.
1 through
Free kratom
90.
samples for those of you who can find Nicole in an old episode.
Yes.
Yeah, right to Nicole at. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Sasha. Last time you were here, we were talking about champs.
Yes.
And this mic is really something. There we go. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about champs, and today we're gonna just talk about kratom in general. So the topic is, let me read it. How we utilize kratom for women's health. Perfect. I'm glad I'm not the one answering this question. Okay.
Well, I mean,
good.
You know, you have experience. You're surrounded by ladies at the office. You're surrounded by your wife, and
We have a lot of female customers.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah, I think we lean. The majority of our customers are women, so yeah, we get a lot of feedback, and it definitely has shaped the company and the products that we provide to our customers, and so we're definitely more women focused. Funny for a company run by two guys.
I mean, are you guys really running the company, or is it me and Nicole? Just
Oh.
saying.
Yeah,
That's right.
I feel like I'm at home right now.
See, I told you, you're surrounded by women telling you what to do.
All right, guys. Well, let's get started. Okay, let's see. How do we want to do this? Want to do industry updates first? We'll save the
Sure.
topic for later. Okay, we
Yeah.
always skip this. So I want to get through it a little bit. So sometimes we have good news. I wish today was one of those where we're like, new research out and all that. It's not. Unfortunately, there's some big legislative actions happening in Texas and Florida. Have you guys heard about this?
I saw an email come through. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I saw something come through from the AKA.
Yeah, same. Okay. Yeah, so both states are going through some potential either outright bans of kratom, or perhaps very strict regulations.
Florida and Texas.
Yeah.
That's where we have like majority of our B2B sales, is Florida and Texas.
Yeah. By the way, if you guys
That's
didn't know,
messed up.
she's head of sales. So, yeah, unfortunately.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it does hit us directly in terms of our business as well. And Florida is kind of the home of a lot of kratom companies, kratom consumers. It's the hotbed of. It's also University of Florida is where a lot of research is being conducted, and so yeah, it's definitely like it's going to be the place that has a lot of controversy, has a lot of energy, and it's sad to see that there's these talks of bans again. I thought we were kind of over it, but we're never over it. It just keeps on coming up. I don't want to get into like the politics too much of this. In a nutshell, we actually covered this in a previous episode. We'll link it in the description. There are two major groups.
I thought that's probably what the issue was.
Yeah. So, we talk about the American Kratom Association quite often because we are actively supporting the AKA, and, we work closely with them. We believe in their mission, and they've done, they have just a proven track record. They do good. They do good for our industry. They do good for kratom. They do good for society in general. So, we support the AKA. There's a new group, the Global Kratom Coalition. I think I'm the GKC, perhaps. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. And they're newer to the scene in the last year or two. And both groups are butting heads, and there's various reasons why. And there are companies that are taking their sides, and like I said, there's an episode that we kind of go into it more deeply, but because of the GKC's actions, it's making it more difficult for legislators to understand our industry and what needs to be done. And so when you have to us, kratom is everything. Kratom is our world. But to, a senator who has, I can't imagine how many folks are just knocking on the door asking for, from I need
stop signs to whatever, to kratom.
Yeah. And then now you get this industry coming in and it's not united. You don't have one voice, one request. You're getting these two major things going you need to do this, but no, you shouldn't do that. But they're there's this 7-OH thing, but there's extracts, but then there's whole leaf, and maybe we should do regulations. No, we shouldn't do regulations. We should do a free market. No, it's just too confusing. So you just go you know what? Screw this. Let's just ban it. It seems like it's controversial. Let's just ban it. I hear there's a lot of folks that want it banned as well. So I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, if they're fighting about it within their whole industry, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't help. So we got to get our shit together, and people need to work better. They need to take more kratom and just start getting in the room. Probably take some kava, really. Take some kava, get together, and just figure it out, because it's leading to things like this, where we're having threats to our industry, threats to a plant that we all use and rely on. I rely on it. I don't just recreationally use. I rely on it to manage my life. So anyway, if you're in, I'm beating a dead horse here, but if you're in Texas, you're in Florida, please write in. We'll have links in the description. The AKA put together a nice, easy way for you to submit your story directly. So, if you're in Texas, Florida, do so. If you're outside of those areas, you can also do it as well. But really, it's, the folks within those states have the strongest voice. So please make your voice be heard. Okay, off my soapbox.
Sorry to start off on a downer. I'm
Yeah. And we should let our folks know too, all of our clients, and so they can take action.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's scroll ahead. Next. All right. Any other industry updates? That's good enough. We'll leave it there. Okay. I do want to talk about just health tips in general, just something that's not kratom related. And I read up on this research, and I thought it was interesting. I wanted you guys' take on it. So the University of Colorado School of Medicine, they had a study where they recruited 165 adults, and they randomly placed them into two groups, and they were comparing a calorie restricted diet, kind of your traditional, that's what we mean. That's what we think of when we think of dieting. It's just calorie restrictions, and versus a fasting diet. So the fasting method they chose to use was called a 4-3. Have you guys heard of this before? Mm-hmm. I've never done a 4-3. Wait, is that you?
Yep.
Playing footsies here.
Playing footsies. That's how we roll.
On the women's specific. Okay. So the 4-3 method is for 4 days you eat, fairly regular to what you normally would. Just eat what you normally do. But on 3 days you're hyper calorie restricted. So you're cutting your calories down by 80%. So it's not like a full fast where you get zero food, but it's really, really restrictive for 3 days. But 4 days you're eat again.
You're like a bear. You're stacking up for the winter.
Yeah. So it's a form of intermittent fasting, of course. And so they did a compare against folks who are doing about a 34%. What was it? 34.3%. That's very specific. You eat how do you get down to the 0.3? Anyway, restrict every day by 34.3% was the calorie restricted cohort. So they compared both of those groups. Now, both groups got all the same resources. They got gym membership and counseling and diet consulting and blah, 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 all that stuff. So they try to keep everything the same except for these two forms of dieting. And they did the comparison. And what they found was... well, you guys can read. I was going to ask you, what do you think?
I already know the answer.
Yeah, don't read it. No. Anyway, the 4-3 group lost an average of 7.6% of their body weight over the 12-month period, compared to those that are doing the calorie restricted version of only 5%. Now it's pretty similar, but it was interesting. So I just wanted you guys to take on. Have you guys ever done any intermittent fasting? Anything similar to this? Calorie restricted dieting?
I feel like naturally I do intermittent fasting. Like I usually don't eat until I get home at around, like 2:30.
So you get into the office around...
Yeah. Wait, does Diet Coke count?
Well, there's different kinds of fasting, because there's the fasting where you don't have, you only have liquids, and then there's fasting where you don't even have liquids.
Okay.
Where like you literally, like my husband was reading about this, where like you have nothing for
not even water.
Not even water. Like in your body, apparently, like if you're not putting anything, after a while, your body starts consuming the bad, like it's starving, so it starts consuming the bad stuff in your body. And then the more you're able to extend it, the better it is for you, because it starts eating like the hard to, like the fat that shouldn't be there, like the hard to like exercise away fat and stuff like that. It's crazy. But you're literally like nothing in your system for, I don't know, however many days. But you have to like
that's hardcore.
But you have to like build up to it, because it's like there's no like set number. Like, okay, you have to do it for 6 days, and then on day 7 you start eating the bad stuff. It's like everybody's different, so you have to kind of build up to it. But it's kind of intense, because I always thought that like if you don't have water for like 3 days, you're like, you die. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy how long we can survive.
Yeah, it sounds cool, because it's like, people are always like, I exercise, but I just can't get rid of this right here. So it's like, just starve yourself for X amount of days and it's gone. But
yeah, it's a good way to reset.
Yeah, but reset for sure. Mm-hmm. Like I know Alex does fasting a lot, and like he's, it's like it's hard, but then you feel kind of like it's like a runner's high. You're like, whoa, I feel so good. I feel so much like you go through the bad portion where you're hungry or you're nauseous, but then you like come over the hump and you're like, man, now I'm like, I feel light, I feel clear-headed, and like.
Yeah.
Well, I've been reading just recently. I don't know why it's been in my feed. I don't know if it's like a newer discovery or maybe I'm just more interested in it, but that if you starve yourself, basically, your body starts eating away like cancer cells and all the bad cells that are in your body.
Yeah.
And there's actually a name for it where it's like where your body eats itself.
Yeah,
but it starts with all the bad cells.
What he was telling me about, but I'm
yeah, there's research that.
Which is really interesting.
It's controversial, but.
Yeah, but literally I was like, okay, well, tell me how many days I need to do it. Like, I need the date. The number is different for everybody. You have to build up to it. I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
I don't have time for that. I need you to tell me how many days exactly, and then I'll do it.
I went into a deep dive. I can't remember the number, but I was the same way. I'm like, well, exactly how many hours do I need?
But then you also like aren't supposed to be like hardcore exercising on those days either, because like obviously your body isn't getting anything in, and you're putting a lot out, especially if you're doing like a high intensity. And I was like, oh crap, that means I can't do my yoga classes, I can't do my sculpt classes. I don't know about this.
I did a challenge once to see how long I can go, and I was just drinking liquids, and it was like day 7. I decided to be a bonehead and went to the gym, and that's what killed it for me. I went to the gym, and then I just my body went into shock like that.
And you went like hardcore at the gym?
Oh, and hardcore. I was doing P90X, or Insanity workout. We were into that stuff. Alex was really into P90X, and that's why. And then, but Michael Chapp, one of our, we own, Mike. We did Utomic together.
That sounds smart.
He was into two of the smartest people I know.
I haven't eaten 7 days. Let's go do some high intensity workout.
Yeah. Mike was like super, like we did Insanity together and stuff. So that was like the thing to do. And so I just hit it way too hard. And I remember getting to I started to feel dizzy, and I was like, I need to stop. And then I got home, and I just full collapsed, and my body went to sweat shock. Everything was going nuts. And I was like, I need some food now. And then you don't want to like shock your system further by just dumping a bunch of food. So I was like sipping broth, just to like a little miso. And then I went to miso soup.
Pizza.
It was dumb. You watch those nature shows where like nature challenges, survival challenges,
like Survivor and Naked and Afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the tricks they do is the folks will load up with fat and food, for like a month before, just like triple their calorie intake. So when they get to the challenge, they can go 2 weeks without eating because they have all the reserves in their system.
That's smart.
A little hack on those shows. So yeah, there's a lot to it. So does your husband like doing the like extreme fasting? Does he still do it?
No, he did it for a couple of days, but then he got so much like grief from me because I was like, "You're boring. We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. Like, what are we gonna go to a restaurant? I'm gonna sit and stare at you as you eat nothing." And then my sister-in-law did the same thing. She's like, "What? It's my birthday. We're going out. What do you mean you're just gonna sit there and do nothing?" So he was like, "Fine."
That's really true. So one of the key points from this article I was reading about the 4-3 compared to traditional dieting is, it ends with like, should you do it or not? And there's some real concerns to put in, like, some people are just more sensitive to fasting. Yeah. So you might get headaches, you might feel nausea.
Yeah, that's me. I obviously growing up as a rhythmic gymnast, I'm not new to not eating, but like that's the first thing that I get is if I haven't eaten in X amount of time in my body, I get gnarly headaches, like debilitating, like my eyes feel like they're crossing headaches, and then also like super nauseous, like morning sickness nauseous, where you're just like your whole body, but you have nothing. You have nothing to throw up, but you just see your body. Feel it. So it's super, super unpleasant, and I'm like, is it really worth it?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then the other thing was one of the things to consider is the kind of the social side of things. When you're fasting, just like what you described, you're limiting. You can get into like isolation, loneliness.
Yeah, if you're like by yourself. Yeah, like that's what everybody always jokes is like when people like first get into a relationship, they get fat because they're happy, they're going out, they're eating, and then it's like when people break up, they're like. They go into sad mode and they're like, "Whoa, you lost all this weight." Yeah, my boyfriend and I broke up. Yeah, my husband and I are getting a divorce.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that it's associated with a negative thing, but like it is. Like it's hard to be on a diet and go out with people because, hey, have a glass of wine, have a drink, have this, have a dessert, and you're like, no, and then look at you funny.
Yeah, it was probably the top reason why I stopped doing carnivore diet. And I did carnivore for 3 years, going on 4 years, never felt better, was just fit and felt great, was just crushing it in every way. But it was just sucky going out, and especially when you have a family, kids too.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like always having to be like, oh, okay, I can take everyone to that restaurant, or I'd always had to cook 2 meals. Mm-hmm. Like the kids aren't going to eat ribeye. You have to go out of your way. Like
my sister-in-law and my husband, they found this carnivore pizza recipe, and actually you make it with the crust is canned chicken, and then you mix it with like egg and I think like Parmesan cheese or something, so it actually forms like a nice crust, and then you put obviously no pizza sauce, but you just put like meat, cheese. And it actually does not taste. It tastes pretty good, but it's a pain in the butt. Like you have to sit there with this canned chicken mixing this thing up. Right. You have to like make the dough,
or you just get a frozen pizza.
Or you go to Costco and you go boop.
Done.
Or call like Instacart or whatever.
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's hard to stay on track. Yeah, you looked it up. What that condition was called, right?
I'm not even gonna try.
Autophagia.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's AUTO, auto, then PHAGY. Sure. Put in Google pronunciation.
How do you pronounce this?
I remember when we had to look up mitragynine or mitragynine. We put in we typed it in. It's like mitragynine. We're like, that's what we're gonna. I think it said mitragynine actually, and that's why we called it mitragynine for the first 5 years. And now the industry has decided that it's called mitragynine.
So, just sounds fancier.
All the scientists came in. They're like, it's actually mitragynine. I'm like, whatever. We've been saying mitragynine before you were born.
It's the same thing. We're referencing the same thing. All right, get over it.
Now everyone just says mit. Okay, I can't wait till all the other alkaloids become, especially psilocybin and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, pananthine. Okay. All right. So you guys gonna do the 4-3? What do you think?
No, I don't know.
4 days, you can do whatever you want, eat whatever you want.
That sounds like a slippery slope for me.
Yeah, why?
Because I'd probably just go buck wild. I'd be like, 4 days, let's go. Like it says I can eat whatever. Yeah, brownies.
Brownies and milk. Big glass of milk.
So on carnivore diet, I gave myself 1 day, a cheat day, And yeah, the first couple times you're like, hells yeah. But then you feel so crappy the next day or like shortly thereafter that you go like, I'm not going to do that again. And then
it's almost like drinking too much. Like you have a food hangover because your body got into this like nice groove.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and your body's like, no, thank you. It was fun during the process, but aftermath sucks. It's like drinking. Exactly. It's fun doing it. The next day you're like,
Yeah.
But man, restricting down to like 20%, 30% calories for 3 days. Oof.
I am interested in the, how do you say this again? Autophagia. Just because you never know if you have precancerous cells or stuff like that in your body.
Hard. How do you find out? Like, you literally have to put yourself on an indefinite thing to find out where your day is to start eating the cells. Or by indefinite thing, or I guess it's here.
I mean, in general, there's a mountain of research now that shows that some kind of intermittent fasting is beneficial. You know, who made George St. Pierre. He's a legend in mixed martial arts. He's retired now, an amazing fighter from Canada. And one of the things that he did and probably still does is intermittent fasting, and that's he's like, one of my secrets of why I'm a champion. I do intermittent fasting. And I think he was the one that I don't know if he was the first to say it, but he said it on a podcast where he said your body is like an engine, and like, you know, every time you're eating, you're like revving up that engine because it has to break down and process the food. And so, you know, if you keep on doing that, you're wearing down the machine. So you need to give it a break. And that's what intermittent fasting is. It just lets everything just chill out. Your digestive system, everything can just relax and kind of reset. And then you can rev it back up again. And so he said, that's how I think of it. That's how I want my engine to last forever, you know, because he's an athlete. He's a pro athlete. He needs his body to be in tip top constantly. So he's like, then I'm not revving my engine all the time. And so that stuck with me. I'm like, okay, intermittent fasting, it's good for George St. Pierre.
It's good for Victor.
Who is far from champion caliber or anything. Okay. All right. Well, maybe we try it. Maybe we don't. Seems like no going 4-3. Okay. I'm not going to do it either. But if you do any fasting or any type of intermittent fasting, you know, let us know.
I think it'd be hard to do with little kids too.
Yeah.
And like, because you need to chase those little delights around. And like, I don't know. And like for me, because I am physically active, like I teach classes, I take classes, like I'm like, oh, like a couple of times I haven't eaten. And I'm like, I realize I'm like, oh, I'm slowing down. Like, I just like, what normally is easy, where like I normally breathe through it easy. I'm like, oh, this is hard. So I don't know if, it really depends on like your, it really depends on like your activity level and like, well, kids.
Yeah.
Kids. With everything.
The study was only 2% more loss of body fat.
I know.
I'm like,
not worth it.
Yeah, is it worth it? I don't know.
The question always goes like, what is sustainable, right? That's the problem with these calorie restricted diets, that
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. People are like, you know, I'll just eat salad for whatever it is. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see how long that lasts. I tried it, and it's like, you know, like Alex did it too. He was like, years ago, he just brought in like big giant bowls of salad constantly, and it doesn't last. He just, you know, he wasn't enjoying himself, and so you can't torture yourself, or I don't know, embrace the suck, maybe. I don't know. Okay, let's get into this. So if you guys don't already know, Sasha is not only part of this company, but is a kratom user herself, and I love to deep dive. I don't think I know you use kratom. I know in general the reasons why, but I haven't really like deep dive why you use it and your perspective on it all. So I'm looking forward to quizzing you with all these questions.
Wouldn't it be funny if right now I was like, oh, I actually don't use kratom at all.
Right. Why do you have me on this podcast?
Well, this makes no sense. I thought we were talking about champs again.
Yeah. No, I just started like trying to convince you. No, kratom's amazing. Kratom's amazing.
I don't think so. It's not for me.
At a sales.
I just sell it.
I just sell shit of it.
So for me.
Before we get into it, also I want, sorry. Nicole, I want your perspective too. So if you don't mind, if you guys can both answer this, if this podcast runs long, oh well. I think the next meeting is actually our meeting, so yeah.
Canceled.
Canceled. So, okay. So do you want to say something before I jump into the questions? Or want we just go into the questions?
We can go into the questions, yeah.
All right.
Pretty much.
Okay, question number 1. Let's see. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first discovered kratom? Oh, okay, yeah. How did you first discover kratom? I'm assuming it's from us.
Yeah, I knew nothing about kratom. I was working for a law firm, hated my life, and started looking for a new job, and came across an ad that you guys had. And so when I came into interview, you guys, I mean, like, I read about the website, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, it's natural. It's supposed to do all these cool things. These guys have like this really good mission. I like what they're trying to do with this company. So I liked all that, but I was like,
Were you suspicious at all?
I wasn't suspicious, but I was like, chances are, like, there's all this good stuff, but like, does it really work? Who knows? Mm-hmm. But then, like, I remember you guys had me try.
How long did it take when you started to taking? Did we give you?
At the interview, you guys gave me.
Of course we did. We're always trying to, like, even during interviews, any candidate, like, try some kratom.
Yeah, and I took Nightfall, and I remember, like, it didn't make me fall, because I was telling you guys I had issues with sleeping, and so I remember it didn't make me fall asleep. But I remember sleeping like a little bit, like waking up less or something like that, where I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm like, could be just random, but could be blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But then when I started working here, I want to say it was probably like, I started working in like November, maybe a couple of months. And so I was like, I suffer with chronic, really bad back pain and like leg pain from being an athlete.
What do you said? I think you already mentioned rhythmic gymnastics.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
What is that for those who don't know?
It's not the regular gymnastics with the tumbling. It's the one that's more like dancey. You have routines with like a ribbon, a ball. You throw crap up in the air. You do some crazy crap underneath. You catch it in some crazy way. It requires an obscene amount of flexibility, which I was not naturally born with. So it was a lot of self-torture in my teen years. Mm-hmm. But now my back and my legs and my knees are really paying for it. And so every day, back pain is probably the worst. Mm-hmm. So every day, pretty much, I have back pain. And I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember it was either you or somebody, one of you guys, that suggested try sunrise. And I tried it. And I was like, all right, whatever. I kept going, kept doing stuff. And all of a sudden...
All sunrise, yeah.
It wasn't like... I don't know. It wasn't like... an instant thing where all of a sudden, like, I was like, whoa, I'm floating in a cloud. Like, I just kept going. Everything was normal, but I was like, something's weird. I was like, I'm not sure what's weird. And then it took me like a hot second to realize what was weird, and that my back wasn't hurting. Like, I had learned to live with this, like, chronic, constantly, like, and all of a sudden, like, there was probably, let's say it's normally at a 10, it was probably at like a 2 or like a 1.5. So I was like, something's weird. And that weird was that it wasn't hurting anymore. And I was like, holy shit, this stuff actually works.
You're like, something's missing. Oh, it's the pain.
It's the pain. And
do you get like ghost pains though? Like you're like trying to find the pain?
Oh yeah.
Like...
It's like, it's the same thing with anxiety. Like if you've ever had a panic attack, your brain tries to like anticipate one, like, because you want to prepare for it. So you like, okay, is it coming? Is my anxiety coming? Nope, it's not coming. Is it coming? So that's the same thing. I'm like, all right, I'm ready for my back to hurt. Because like if I've been sitting in a car for a long time or something, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for my back to hurt. And I'm like, it's weird. Why isn't it hurting? What's going on? But yeah, I tried Sunrise. It worked for me. Helped me so much. Also helped like with my knee pain and stuff. And so I started taking it pretty much on a regular basis. Like anytime I felt any kind of like initial, like they tell you like with headaches, it's like if you have a headache, don't wait, don't suffer, like take something instantly. So that's what I try to do. I was like, okay, as soon as I feel something in the morning or whenever, like take some Sunrise. And I discovered one other like random positive that came out of it is that I didn't want to smoke anymore. Yeah, because I'd been a smoker too, and I had tried quitting smoking like 470 times, and then all of a sudden, like, I still like mentally liked the idea of like coffee and a cigarette, but the cigarette started like not tasting good, or not like, not giving you the same, like it was kind of making me nauseous and it. So I was just kind of like, okay, I don't want to smoke. I'll just have my coffee, and then it's like I didn't have the withdrawals. I didn't have the like, oh, jonesing, I need a cigarette now. Like all of a sudden I just stopped smoking. It was the craziest thing. I was like, I started Googling and I was like, I'm like, what have I done differently? And I'm like, oh, it's kratom. So it's got to be kratom, like somehow killed that desire, or maybe the kratom in my body turn the nicotine to tasting yucky as opposed to whatever.
Whatever, doesn't matter, right?
Didn't matter, but it was awesome because I was like, oh my God, I don't have to spend like $15 for these dumbass stinky things that are nothing good but smelly. So
I always wanted, I know that happened. I always wanted, I never asked, do you ever have a cigarette every so often?
I had a friend who was still a smoker, and then a couple of times when I would go over to her house, like they'd all be sitting outside smoking, and I'd be like, man, I'm like, okay, give me a drag, and I'd have a drag, and I'd be like, bleh. And that's literally, I was like, never. So I've never had an entire cigarette like since I think it was like 2020.
Yeah.
And it's great because then I ended up getting like
You've been with
later
us for 5 years? Hey, time flies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so it was great because then later on in the end of 2020 I ended up getting pregnant, and then like I didn't have to deal with like, oh my gosh, I must force myself to stop smoking if I want to have a kid.
Yeah.
It's just like non-issue, and 100%. Like I didn't do anything else differently except for take.
That's that.
In my case, sunrise, because sunrise, and it's sunrise. That's all. It works for me really well. So I like yap about it incessantly to any single customer that walks through the door.
We started the company with it. That's the formula that worked for Alex and I, and we said, let's sell it. Let's see if people agree. And it's been a godsend for so many people. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Nicole, what was your first exposure? Same story? Did we push it during the interview?
Yeah, so my first time I discovered kratom was through the job opportunity. Okay. And I hadn't heard of it at all before that.
Did you Google the website and everything that Sasha did?
Before I came in?
Yeah,
of course. I come
What'd
from the nutraceutical industry, so any botanicals, nutraceuticals, anything like that I'm familiar with. So, which is why I was like, okay, I'll learn a little bit more about kratom. I hear about so many other ingredients or whatever, that people use. That's how I heard about it. And before I came into the interview, I did a deep dive and watched a lot of the YouTube videos and podcasts.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, wow. A lot. So many that when I came in, Amanda was the first person that I saw. And I was like, oh, Amanda, like, I know you from the podcast. And I think she was like, yeah, who are you? Like, what?
Yeah.
But, yeah. And when I did interview, you guys did not push it on me.
Okay.
Maybe the conversation never came up, or maybe you asked me if I have pain or...
That'd be the difference. Yeah.
You might have been asking me questions to figure out
so
if
yes, I live with pain constantly. I'm like, well then, shit, you got it.
Yeah, if you have a solution, give me.
Yeah.
So no, we didn't push it to you. So what did it take for you to finally try kratom?
Well, I'm really hesitant to really try a lot of things because I'm pretty sensitive. Even with coffee, I get jittery and uncomfortable and sweaty and headaches and what's that?
And milk.
Oh yeah, milk. I'm sensitive to milk.
But not brownies.
Not brownies are good. So I was not skeptical, but I didn't want to take something and start feeling crappy because that happens a lot. I'll take whatever it is and it just makes me feel like crap.
I've subjected you to a couple. There have been times when I've done that to you and then you're like not having a good experience.
Yeah,
like,
just don't feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it took a while, but I think the first thing I did try was Refresh, our kratom tea.
That's a good starter. That's what it's intended for. Is a starter.
Yeah.
So Refresh, for those who don't know, it's a unique product that we make. It's a beverage, and we take actual kratom leaves and we brew it, and then we do a pasteurization process, make sure it's nice and safe and effective. So you're getting whole leaf kratom in a beverage. Very limited number of ingredients. We keep it as tea-like as possible, like in traditional tea. And it's most, if not all, I'm pretty sure all other beverages that are kratom related or have kratom as a ingredient use extracts, and that's just a different experience. And so we have this one thing that we love, and we think it's a great intro. I think anytime you're getting into kratom, it should start with whole leaf. It's the thing that we all use on a regular basis, and it's I think it's just a great experience. So yeah, so that was the drink. We, like Sasha said, the intention of Refresh was for those that are new to kratom, try this thing, and hopefully you have a good experience. So did Nicole have a good experience?
Yeah, it was great. Okay. I love the way it made me feel. Right. Yeah, my mood, I just loved the effect that it gave me. And I will say, so that was probably 4 months in, I would say. And prior to that, my mom, her and I talk a lot, and she did a deep dive and started researching kratom because I would tell her the benefits and explain what it was. And she was like, oh, I think this sounds like something that I would love. She works out like every morning, hardcore workout queen. Like, I think I mentioned this on the podcast before. She does her Peloton tread in the morning and then her Peloton bike. I mean, before she will open her emails and start working, she does like a 2-hour hardcore workout.
Your mom's awesome.
She's the best. And she's always very tired. Like, she has low energy. So that's why
and she still does that.
Oh yeah. Wow. Well, she has to do it first thing in the morning, or else I think, she's like done with work. She's in bed by probably like 6,
Wow, yeah.
But so she started taking it before me. And I like call her every morning on the way into work, and she'd be like, why haven't you tried it yet? Like, oh my God, you got to try it.
It's the best.
She was trying to sell me on it. And I'm like, I know, I'm just a little nervous. But I think having her kind of, and being here and hearing everybody's stories, it's a lot. But I heard it from a lot of people around me.
One of the people that you trust the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Will never lie to you.
Which one is she taking? Which blend?
She does Slim Fit. There you go. We should pull up I can pull up her Shopify order history to find out. But I think Minda.
Can we just send her some kratom? I see
She does
orders.
love to support. She loves to support the company.
She doesn't need to buy. Great. I've said this a million times.
I know.
Just send it to her.
Yeah.
I see your name come up sometimes. I'm like, why are you ordering? I'm like, oh, it's mom. Okay, got it. I'm assuming that's what you're doing.
No, mine's probably for like test order, like if we're testing the system.
Oh,
and then I get,
Yeah. Okay, well, all right. Well, then that's fine.
That's nice of you, though.
Yeah.
So I think, hearing it from her and her experience, she started taking it every day to get her workouts in, and she says her energy, like it keeps her energy up. Social events, she's not like the most social person. You would never know it because she's very outgoing, but she's more introverted, and
it takes effort for her to be extroverted.
Yeah. So anytime she has like a dinner party or work event or something, she takes kratom.
Nice.
Yeah. So hearing that from her and her experience, just knowing how energy depleted she is, and this really works for her. So.
And still using it. You still using it?
Oh yeah, still using it.
That's awesome. Okay, so then you saw her, and then what did you do? Did you try Slim Fit first?
No, it was a Refresh.
After Refresh.
After Refresh, I'd say my next experience with it was when I got COVID. I got COVID, and my body and muscles just hurt so bad I couldn't sleep. And you dropped off some midday.
Yeah.
Really, midday?
Was it midday? Maybe it wasn't midday.
Remember.
Sunrise.
Maybe it was sunrise. Maybe it was sunrise.
I'm a big pusher of sunrise, I think.
And that was the only thing that could keep me comfortable. It was bad. My pain during COVID was so bad.
When I first got pregnant, and I was and I also got sick on top of it, so I was like, oh, I'm already uncomfortable, and on top of that I'm sick. And I remember I would take some sunrise, and like I remember like this one particular moment, like I was working from home and I was laying on the couch like, oh my God, I gotta do stuff, but I literally can't move. And then all of a sudden, like 20 minutes, and I was like, oh yeah, I can move, I can actually like and I was like, oh, the sunrise like kind of like made me feel like I wasn't sick, even though I was still obviously sick, but like made the symptoms so much less vile that I could actually function for X amount of time and get some work done. So like the muscle pain, and then like even like the head congestion, all that stuff. Yeah. Like it didn't decongest me, but at least it made it like not feel like an elephant was sitting on me.
Right.
Do you have this problem? I have this like A-type personality problem, is where you get that experience that you just described, and then you go like, well, then I'm good. Let's go work. Let's go do this, and blah, blah, and then you don't actually rest. And
was that a serious question?
I know, right? It's like
was that a serious question? That's exactly what I do.
Right? That's a problem. So it's like, I know I feel better right now, but I still need to rest and just chill out. Yeah. Okay. So
I think I'm opposite from you guys though, where I don't really have chronic pain, or at least in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of pain. So
you have hip pain.
Well, now, so that's fast forward, yeah, like a year and a half later. Yeah, I've had some hip pain, and for that one, I've been taking midday.
Midday. Okay.
Yeah.
So you take it in the afternoon when you're here in the office, or when do you?
Yeah, like randomly though, because
it flares up.
Yeah, when it flares up, and I don't have the need to take it like that. Some people like ask about, is it addictive? I have never had that experience. It's not like since I've been taking kratom, I need to take it.
No, addictive. Addictive is when like your
body needs
your body's like, I cannot function without like my brain. You get the meat sweats and like the shakes and stuff. That's addiction. Like
so
a version of it. But like I'm just like, oh, my body hurts. Man, it'd be nice if I had some kratom. If I had some kratom, I would take it so I wouldn't hurt as much.
That's exactly what the hip pain for me, and I usually feel it when I'm home in bed, and I'm like, I should have some here by my bedside table. So when I do feel it when I'm trying to sleep, I can take some.
I know. I started leaving some sunrise in my car. So if I'm like driving here from LA, I'm like, oh, that's back there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because that's when my back really starts. There is from sitting in like stupid car seat, like uncomfortable car seat.
Yeah. Yeah. All my vehicles, there's kratom in my bag. There's kratom. You just never know when you need it, and to be able to hand it out to folks. When you're hanging out with someone that you care about and they're suffering, and you're like, oh. Here. Yeah. So I don't want to hang out with you because you're annoying right now.
Well, that's how my friend Elena, like I was hanging out with her. She was doing my hair, and she's like, my hands really hurt. She's doing hair all day, standing on her feet all day, and I was like, why don't you try this one thing? And unlike a lot of people who are like, ooh, she's like, I trust Sasha. Okay. And then she was like, give me more. I love this. This is amazing. This is the only thing that's makes my like 16-hour like standing days and having to socialize with clients and all this stuff bearable. And like she went from like a little 75-gram bag to now she like buys big giant bags because she's like, it helped. She said it helped with her anxiety. She doesn't take any Xanaxes anymore.
Wow.
It helped her sleep better. And it also helped her not drink. She like doesn't really drink anymore either, and she was drinking like a bottle of wine every night to help her sleep and to help her like chill. And all of that stuff is gone, and it's just sunrise.
But let's ban it in Texas and Florida, guys.
Especially Texas. Texas, it's not only our B2B, but I think we have a lot of our B2C customers in Texas also. A lot of our online customers.
It's a tremendous amount, yeah.
And Florida obviously is a lot. Like
one of our first retailers was a sunflower shop.
Yeah.
And they're like, if you're not in the area, then they're equivalent to like a Whole Foods. Actually, I think they were Whole Foods and then became Sunflower in that region. And so we're the only kratom brand that's represented in those stores. So folks that are introduced to kratom, introduced through us, through there in Texas. And, sometimes you go like, why do I need to go to the store? I'll just buy direct. And so, and word of mouth kind of grows. And so we built out, they've been a client of ours for a long time, years.
It was right when I started. It was the
5 years
end
ago.
of 2019. I remember because like she emailed you as before, like you introduced me to her directly. Like she emailed you and she was like, yep, they're ready to put in their first order. That was December like 31st or December 30th of 2019. So they literally were like right when I started.
Yeah. So we have a presence in Texas. I have family there, so I travel often there, and all my family in Texas use kratom. Okay, let's continue on.
Wait, this is a total side note, but can we send like an email blast to our customers in Texas and Florida to be like,
let's take a note on that, and that's
actually a really good idea.
Let's make
sure
and
be like, hey, if you want to keep,
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's what we did that for San Diego
and Florida.
Florida, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely got to do our part. Okay. All right, next question. We answered several of these, so that's good. I like when we answer questions organically versus just like this.
Question number 2.
I know, it's so weird. But anyway, question number 2. Do you think kratom is underrepresented in the female wellness space? If so, why?
I think it's underrepresented, period. I think outside of I don't even know where you would. Yeah, smoke shops. Like
that's what, unfortunately, like
I don't know.
As I'm driving home from daycare, like there's on our, like as I sit in traffic, there's like LA, there's multiple smoke shops and they have the big kratom signs. And I always meet, and there's actually one not too far from my house that I want to walk to. I just want to see what they have. Like, I'm curious. Obviously, they're not going to have ETHA, but I'm curious to see what they have. But I think for majority of people who are struggling with pain and looking for natural solutions, their first thought would not be, let me go to a smoke shop. So if they know this particular XYZ product is in a smoke shop, I feel like that immediately turns them off. But CBD's in smoke shops, right? So how come CBD is so widely? It's in all the like fancier LA, like Erewhon, Gelson's, Bristol Farms, all those places have
ubiquitous now.
Lazy Acres. They all have CBD. One of my friends, she just she was doing my eyebrows a couple of days ago, and she was like, okay, here's this special CBD balm designed by a nurse especially for your to put on your eyebrows. And I was like, have you heard of kratom? She's like, oh, what's that? But it's like, okay, a nurse thinks CBD is cool for your, especially designed for like, whatever cosmetic, like whatever stuff girls do, but like, why not kratom when kratom works so much better?
Yeah. I do think turning to smoke shops for THC or CBD is becoming a little more mainstream. I have 2 grandmas that are have chronic pain and recently have asked like, hey, what do you know about smoking marijuana to get rid of my pain? I hear it kind of works. And that's a segue for me to be like, you should try kratom.
That's when you go send them some kratom and try it.
Yeah, which I have to both. But they're like in their late 80s, 90s, so never smoked in their life, and they're in so much pain. They're like looking for these other resources.
One of my dad's cousins, she's like 85 or something like that. She lives up in San Francisco, and my dad was telling her about kratom and how he took kratom and how one time he had dental surgery, and I gave him some Sunrise, and he was like, holy crap, like this actually helped this crazy pain go away. And so he had me send some to her to San Francisco, and it worked for her, and now she's going around to all her fellow 85-year-old friends and telling them to go to our site and buy some. She's like, trust me, I took it works. So and if you're struggling, and most 80-year-olds have some sort of pains, does
she want to be an affiliate?
85-year-old affiliate, I don't know. I mean, she kind of is doing that without
get her commission. No, it is.
But yeah, like smoking, like I can't even imagine like I don't know, like for an 80-year-old who's never smoked, who's never done anything, like it seems so like...
You get desperate.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get desperate where, and in general, I think
desperate for sure.
I think the messaging, well, not just messaging, I think in the U.S., the kind of push against big pharma has only increased, especially after COVID. New administration.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that part.
And then new administration with RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr., is he's pushing alternative or all natural methods of self-care versus just pharmaceuticals. It's I think we're in that great space now where something like kratom is becoming a viable and like not an insane or like off-putting or like, oh, it's only, for people that go to smoke shops. All that stuff is kind of still true, but I think more folks are more just receptive in general to all these kinds of things. And like CBD and marijuana and all of that has kind of paved the way for us as well. Good and bad, they were first on the scene, and now we're kind of following suit. And so we're dealing with some of the missteps that they had, and we're learning from their mistakes and how that industry kind of went out. But it also has not. We can say easily now, like what you just did, where like, oh, you don't heard of kratom? It's like CBD. Have you like, oh, okay, but it's more effective. So it's
I'm like, it's kind of like CBD, but
it works.
Mm-hmm. But it works, yeah.
Yeah, like So it's a great time. It's a great time to be in the industry. We've been in it for so long now. It's radical thinking about the amount of change that's happened, like 8-10 years ago to now, where like no one knew what it was. And if you were like, I was always shy to tell anyone that I was like, I'm using this thing. They're like, oh, what? And now they're very much more receptive to it all. I know we're running. This is the longest episode ever.
Did you see Alex peek in here?
I know. He's like, we have a meeting? What's going on, guys? Join the conversation. No. Okay, let's answer a couple more questions. I think we're in a nice groove here. What advice would you give to another woman who's curious about kratom but hesitant?
I mean, honestly, obviously I'm a little biased, but I tell them like my experience, and I'm like, however, do your own research, but don't believe everything you read. And then it definitely matters what company you go with. Unfortunately, there are companies out there who don't care about quality, who don't care about what they're actually producing and giving to the public. They just care about the bottom line, which is making money. So those potential horror stories are partially true because there are bad apples, but there's bad apples in every industry. There's bad apples in the makeup industry. That doesn't mean you're never going to wear makeup, right? You're just going to be more selective about what brand you go to. So maybe give it a try, but go with a trusted company like ETHA. But I mean, my friend Elena's a great example because she's like, okay, I trust you. If you say this works, if you say that you took it while you were pregnant, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it while I'm pregnant. She took it while she was pregnant. Everything was great.
Yeah. Could you cover that? I know that's a big concern for folks is, can I take it while I'm pregnant? Can I take it if I'm breastfeeding?
I didn't breastfeed, so I can't answer that question. I mean, and I also don't know if you can take it while you're pregnant. I just know that I did. And I know it's double-edged sword, I guess. I took it while I was pregnant, but I would only have taken our kratom. I wouldn't have trusted any other company's kratom to take it, and I also didn't trust extracts, so I only took our whole leaf kratom, which is, again, sunrise. I didn't try any extracts. I didn't do any of that while I was pregnant. I think she did breastfeed. She took it while she was pregnant with her daughter, and I think she did breastfeed. And I think she never stopped taking kratom. So, but then again, what concern I have is
how are the kids?
A lot. It's my future daughter-in-law. Oh my god, she's half Turkish, half like Elena's like white, pretty, like oh my god, she's the cutest thing ever. So she's perfect. I already made an arrangement for her to be my
Nice.
future daughter-in-law. That's what I actually call her.
In an arranged marriage, who has to provide the goats and the whatever in exchange? Is it
her husband? It's usually the daughter's family, and he's Turkish, so. Their whole culture is all about goats and stuff.
So you get Elena and you get...
I get goats.
You get goats.
All I always wanted is a goat. But yeah, like that's the thing that I don't know why it's okay. It's like why it's taboo to take kratom while you're pregnant and to breastfeed with kratom. But it's not taboo. The very first thing after I came out of my C-section, they were like, okay, we're going to write you a prescription for oxycodone. And I was like, well, what if I was breastfeeding? I'm allowed to breastfeed Logan with oxycodone in my system, but not kratom?
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do you guys rationalize giving me something that like literally screws up my brain chemistry and is going to make me addicted from the very first try? Yeah. And obviously I'm going to pass it on to him, but yet kratom, which is not addictive, which is not this, not that, like, no, be careful.
Yeah. If we're being charitable, it's because the research that supports kratom isn't well known, and there isn't research. Well, there isn't anyway. I
mean, I know the political answer is on the bare bones level. I'm like, WTF? Like seriously, I just pooped out a kid, and you're prescribing me oxycodone.
Some of the hardest stuff.
You don't even know if I'm going to be breastfeeding. Like maybe I am.
Yeah,
and I'm allowed to pass that on to him.
Yeah, I mean, Lisa breastfed all our kids. Is breastfeeding right now, our third kid, and we were at the hospital. She was given and took.
She actually took it.
Yeah.
I don't believe Lisa would actually. She won't even take kratom. She actually took.
She takes nothing because they were, in that moment.
Did they bully her?
Yeah, they don't even ask you.
Well, C-sections are very painful too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I took all the drugs and I breastfed.
Yeah, but Lisa took
I literally was like
first dose.
They were like, okay, we're right, and I was like, no, and she looked at me like I fell from the moon, and I like reached into my bag, and I was like, I got my own. I literally had my big bag. I got my own stuff.
Yeah.
My rabbit food.
I was pretty annoyed. I was annoyed because it happened without our consent.
I think on that you mentioned it, I think they might have given me something without my consent, because when they asked me later, I was like, no, I do not want a prescription. They're like, and I think they did give me one shot or one something of something
Yeah.
without me knowing exactly what they were giving me.
It's right into the IV. You don't even know.
Yeah.
It's just like, boop, boop. It's right in there. It was like, I obviously was against it because, for all the reasons that you talked about. And then Lisa was against it for kind of the reasons that you're talking about. She's just like, I do everything natural. I don't put anything unless I really, really have to. And so for both those reasons, it was just shocking. And then I remember them coming back in for like a redose. And they're like, okay, so we're going to add. I'm like, wait, what? You're redosing? That means.
That's exactly what happened to me.
And I looked at Lisa. I'm like, I mean, it's your call, obviously, but like, are you good with this? And then she was just like, I think I can deal with the pain. And the nurse was just like, what?
I mean, I honestly,
I would have been so pissed at you if you said, if you were like, really? It's up to you, but I mean, like questioning my pain tolerance and after birth.
I was saying like, because you can have a different
no, he
alternative.
really because like she normally doesn't take stuff.
Oh, and they didn't ask
That's
her.
why she's saying, okay, maybe I will take it, maybe I won't. And he's
This
like,
this is against what you stand for.
Like, she won't even take,
you're
like, Tylenol.
you're anti any drugs.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, you're okay with it. So, but this is a unique situation. So, but the first time and the second time you didn't. So now the third time, maybe it's different. So I'm like, these things are going in your head. You're just like, all right. I mean, shit.
or maybe they just, you can also get somebody at a different mood. Like you get them 5 minutes later, they're in a completely different stage. But yeah, like as soon as they asked me, I was like very adamant. I was like, nope. They literally the doctor looked at me like I literally fell from the moon. Like, who says no to this stuff?
This is the good stuff. What are you
I'm like,
talking about?
nope, I got my own.
You're going to feel great.
Yes, I think the only, so it was, for me, it was Sunrise, and they gave me like Motrin or some nonsense that made my stomach hurt like hell. So.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts from you, Nicole, on the previous question?
Which was...
Something about
Any advice
women?
you'd give to anyone who's curious about creating?
Oh, same exact answer. I would, tell my personal experience and then, but, do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
Do your own research. Don't believe Google.
Yeah.
All right. Any specific tips or routines you'd recommend? Strains, dosage, timing. I think we kind of covered that. At least, how often are you guys using kratom? You're more episodic, you're.
Yeah, mine's very random. If I have, something, it's just very random.
Okay. And like whenever you feel like you need it,
Yeah.
Okay, and you're
My worst
regular?
pain is usually like when I first wake up, because I think because I've been lying down, all that like nasty lactic acid or something's building up in my legs or my back. So when I first wake up, I'm like, oh, pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it in the morning, and then usually at night, right before bed, I will take it also. Those are my two like pretty much set times. And then if anything during the day, if I'm like, oh, my back hurts, then I'll just take it. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have like morning and night, but I feel like for a lot of people, that's usually when they feel more pain is right when you wake up and right as you're winding down. I don't know why those two, but
yeah, I'm the same way as well. Is there anything that you guys take to kind of help the issues that you mentioned besides kratom, or like another like an adaptogen, a supplement? Anything else? Diet, specific diet?
Not a specific diet. Well, I tried to become more carnivore, but it's hard for me because I didn't grow up being a massive meat eater. So like all the meat that's like good for you, like steak, like I can only have a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, it's just too rich for me. Like my body doesn't really like it. It's good going down, but then I'm like, oh, I don't feel a little nauseous. So that part is hard for me. But I am trying to be like, sugar was that was one thing that I cut out when I was pregnant, was sugar. And I remember like hearing all these annoying people being like, yappity yap, I don't eat sugar, I feel amazing. And I was like, shut up. But when I yappity yap didn't eat sugar while I was pregnant, I was like, man, I feel really good.
I feel amazing.
I feel amazing. Shit. I hate those people, but I feel
I'm one of them now.
I know, but like, I mean, I unfortunately love sugar now. Like, I think it's because I don't drink very much anymore. So I love candy, like sour candies, gummy candies. I love sugar, but I love like creamer in my coffee. But again, when I have too much of it, I'm like, ugh. So that's one thing I try to do, is like to limit my sugar intake to fruit. And then one thing I Googled and I started taking them is beef liver supplements. Is that what?
Okay.
Is that what they're called? Beef liver supplements. Yeah. Like they're supposed to be really good for women. So I tried a brand. It was called like Primal Queen. So I started taking those. And then because they were having a promo, so I was like, and it came with
a great name.
And then it came with like a little like cool carrying case. But anyway, I found a much better, cheaper version on Amazon. So I'm not taking the fancy Primal Queen. It's the same exact thing, but and they're supposed to be really good for women. Energy, like help keep you full, like all that stuff. So I don't know. I don't feel like at night I'm not like rummaging for snacks and stuff. I'm just okay. I can eat, I could not eat. So I don't know. Maybe it is doing
for good things. Yeah. It's a great supplement, dietary supplement for sure.
Yeah, and it's great because I don't have to actually eat beef.
You get all the benefits without all the Actually, this is why I'm wearing this shirt right here. This is the shirt that Alex made for me a while back. This is plants are medicine, meat is food. That's what he's trying to convey on this graphic.
Love it.
Anyway,
whatever, Nicole. I'm gonna make you a shirt. It's gonna be even cuter.
Yes.
I have an awesome friend that you guys.
Whatever. I'm gonna make her a cooler shirt.
I'll wear it every day.
Alex loves me.
Sometimes. Maybe not right now. Not that you're late to a
No, he's
meeting.
pissed right now. He's definitely pissed. He's like, what the hell's going on right now?
Okay, last question.
If kratom were a character in your life, how would you describe it? A friend, a coach, a secret weapon, an enemy?
This question is so funny.
I
I don't know. Maybe
ChatGPT, by the way.
A friend that I never talked to that might have like a good hookup with like concert tickets. So like I only call when I need the hookup on the tickets.
Nice. You got the good stuff? You know what I mean. Nice. That's a good answer. What about you, Sasha?
Definitely a close friend that I talk to every single day.
Oh, there you go.
That if I'm feeling blue makes me feel better.
Aw, your therapist.
You know, I mean, it really does, because like I'm like, ow, crap, everything hurts. Ooh, 20 minutes later, okay, not so bad.
Nice.
Can chase Logan around, can sit in traffic, can do work.
I can tolerate life.
Can tolerate other humans.
That's so you.
Can you imagine that I actually teach people like at a studio, like I have to interact and be social and pleasant to other adults, not even kids, adults.
Yeah, but I know you're I'm not surprised that you're good at it, because for various reasons. One, you're an achiever, you want to do well at things. Your past history, of course, as a professional athlete, but then also like I think you know how to like get into character, and that's a character for you, and like so I don't know. Okay, let's stop there, huh? We're going. Are we north of an hour?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Due for us. Okay, all right, guys. As always, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully gain some insight into kratom, and specifically in this case, kratom from a woman's perspective, or women to women perspective, not just one. You got a bonus perspective from Nicole. If you've enjoyed yourself at all, please support the show by shopping at ETHANaturals.com or ETHAKratom.com. Both work. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Our handle is at ETHANaturals. Your support always means a lot to us. Truly does. And if you have any topics that you want us to cover, we're actually planning to do an episode where we're going to just fire off all the questions that have been building up and try to rapid fire get through as many as we can. We're calling it like Ask a Founder or something. We've done this in the past. It seems like you guys love it when we do it. So we'll do another one in April. Sometime in April, I think it's on the calendar. So yeah, submit your questions and we'll try to get through it. I don't know how they get arranged in terms of what we're going to answer or not answer. It's probably just going to be random. Hopefully we'll get to it. And if not in this episode, we'll get to the next episode. We'll get it. All right, guys. Also, too, we're gonna have a deal. We'll try to give all you listeners some kind of deal on our website. So go in the description. It'll be there. It'll be live. It's always for a limited time. So check it out. Shop. Save some money. Why not? Okay, guys. Until next time. I'm Victor.
I'm Sasha.
And I'm Nicole.
As always,
Live fully.